Do the True Star Nation 777. Welcome to my channel, and I hope you're having a good day out there. Today, this video is about the Great Pyramids of Giza. How Khufu did not build the Pyramids of Giza, and how Khufu was visited by Lord Thoth, the Jedi, and you know Khufu got stepped down on by the Jedi. He checked them, you know what I'm saying, and gave him the codes. So I want y'all to listen and check it out, son.
When Cheops, the Greek name for Khufu, became king, he brought the people every kind of evil, shutting all the temples, stopping ritual sacrifice, and made the Egyptians work for him and his building projects. He says that for 10 years they made preparations, including building the causeway, and then 20 years building the pyramid using machines to lift heavy blocks. He also says that the king forced his daughter into prostitution in order to raise the funds for the building project. If this Philitian brought monotheism into Egypt, influencing Khufu in the 4th dynasty, it is very interesting because in my previous video, I explained that the Sphinx also portrays the monotheistic god, the same god that Akhenaten brought back in the 18th dynasty. But is there anything else written about Khufu that seems to back up the claims he was influenced by an outsider? Apart from everything stated so far, most of what we know about Khufu comes from the Westcar Papyrus. Interestingly, the 5 stories written on 12 rolls of papyrus were written during the later Hyksos period. The Westcar Papyrus certainly paints Khufu in an interesting light. There is, and always has been, an element of intrigue and mystique around Khufu. And, as I stated in my previous video looking at the Sphinx, I believe that Khufu was the first monotheistic dynastic pharaoh, but historic accounts seem to infer he was influenced. This makes sense if he was to implement such drastic changes. The ideas had to come from somewhere. In the Westcar Papyrus, there is a story called Khufu and the Magician, told by his son, Hardadev.
Okay, Khufu and the Magician. Thoth is the magician, and the magician is the master of technology. So to a human, I would be a magician because I can produce some technology and levitate things and create monumental megalith structures, or just high frequency technology. That's called magic to humans. That's a fact. So listen.
He tells his father of a magician named Jedi, who has the power to reattach a severed head and can tame a wild lion.
Okay, Jedi is Lord Thoth. There's no being that has the more knowledge. You know what I'm saying? He taught the old mech, he taught everybody, brought everybody up. Every pharaoh was initiated by Lord Thoth, the priesthood. So the Jedi is Lord Thoth coming to check Khufu. Check it.
Most interestingly, he also claims that Jedi has information regarding the Temple of Thoth, another name for the famous Hall of Records.
The Temple of Thoth. So he coming to check him about the Temple of Thoth, Khufu. What does that mean? Y'all, you know what I'm saying? I'm giving you the code. Lord Thoth built the Great Pyramid of Giza. Ain't no Khufu did nothing.
Khufu orders Hardadev to bring Jedi to his court, and there he questions him on his knowledge of the temple. Jedi claims that while he does not know the number of rooms in the temple, he does know where they are. He says there is a flint box in a room called the Inventory in Heliopolis, and the information is in that box. Jedi can't bring the box to him, but he says that the eldest of 3 sons, born to Regeded, the wife of a priest of Ra, will bring it to him. It is said that the eldest son will become chief priest at Heliopolis.
So this being, the Jedi, is telling Khufu predictions to what's going to happen. Khufu ain't got no light. If you tricking out your daughter to build a raggedy pyramid, which wasn't the Pyramid of Giza, you ain't nothing. You flim, bro.
into the next Westcott papyrus tale about the birth of the three sons, but due to an incomplete papyrus, we do not know how the saga ends. Did Khufu actually gain the knowledge of the Temple of Thoth? Is this the basis of the sacred book of Sufis, aka Khufu, talked about by Manetho? Was Jedi the man that Herodotus called Philitian? Jedi is described as a commoner of extraordinary age, endowed with magical powers and talented in making prophecies.
See? Jedi. Who was named Jedi? King Solomon was known as Jedediah. King Solomon is Lord Thoth. I cracked that code in my other video. Go check it out.
500 loaves, a shoulder of meat.
So it's documentation of the Jedi coming, showing man being the most advanced being on the planet, predicting the future, having the science to erect some of these joints, even teaching Khufu.
Drank 100 jugs of beer, can reattach heads to bodies and can tame lions. He could also perform other miracles and wonders. Jedi brings a number of magic books with him to meet the Pharaoh, reattaches the head of a goose to its body, as well as that of a waterfowl and an ox. Khufu sets Jedi up with an allowance, food and drink, and said he could live in the house of Prince Hordadev. Jedi does say that the eldest son of Regidet would become chief priest of Heliopolis, and the next story says that Khufu was still king when the three children of Regidet were born. So maybe Khufu did find the Temple of Thoth, which is believed to be the so-called Hall of Records. By all accounts, Khufu did change the state religion of Egypt, and it is possible he was the first monotheist in ancient Egyptian history. Accounts say he built the Great Pyramid under the influence of a shepherd king from the east.
A shepherd king from the east, and the shepherd king is the one who checked Khufu about saying that he built the Pyramid of Giza. You see, I'm trying to show you. The Jedi came and checked Khufu.
Who could be the same man who influenced Khufu's change in religion, and therefore the Great Pyramid could be a symbol of this monotheistic religion. This man could well be the magician from the Westcott Papyrus, who knew how to find the Lost Hall of Records. Khufu then went on to write a sacred...
So, this being the Jedi knew how to find the lost Akashic records. He knew how to find stuff that Khufu can't find.
book, a book which Manetho eventually went on to own hundreds of years later. There is no mention of this sacred book in any later works, and it seems to have disappeared from history. But I have a feeling that this book holds the answer to all the things we are looking for regarding the history of the pyramids of Egypt. Very little remains from Khufu's reign, and the only complete statue we have of him is one small representation made of ivory, where the rest of his statues, steles and works of art all destroyed. As stated in my last video, this sounds all too familiar.
Akhenaten. Going back to Akhenaten. Knowing about the Sphinx.
When you study the aftermath of Akhenaten's rule in the 18th dynasty. Khufu was clearly a heretic king when compared to the other pharaohs, and the Egyptians seem to have wanted to erase him from history. The cult of Khufu did live on and re-emerged in later dynastic history, as is evident with the Westcott Papyrus, but his legacy is not one of a master builder of the greatest wonder of the world, but of a despot who shunned the gods and was influenced by an outsider.
Case closed. He did not build nothing. Do the truth, breaking all the codes, cracking all the codes for y'all, man. Peace to the fam. You know what I'm saying?